how it empowers communities in our interview later on in the show. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council is verifying reports of one fatality in the aftermath of Typhoon Julian. 8 are confirmed injured and 1 is missing. More than 56,000 families, or almost 200,000 people, were affected by the typhoon from 3 regions. 29 cities and municipalities have been declared under state of calamity. State volcanologists say Taal volcano will remain under alert level 1, indicating low level of volcanic unrest following yesterday afternoon's minor phreatomagmatic eruption. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, reported that 11-minute eruption at 4:21 p.m. was due to the sudden contact of water with shallow magma. This type of minor eruption is common for Taal, especially after its major explosion in January 2020. According to Pag-asa, Typhoon Julian remains outside the Philippine area of responsibility. The center of the eye was estimated at 265 kilometers northwest of Itbayat, Batanes. It has maximum sustained winds of over 1,140 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 170 kilometers per hour. It is now moving slowly in a northeastward direction, and as you can see here, now close to Taiwan. Tropical cyclone wind signal number 1 is raised over Batanes. Residents must expect winds of up to 61 kilometers per hour, and intermittent rains may be expected within 36 hours. Residents in Babuyan Islands will also experience cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms. Flash floods or landslides are still possible due to moderate to at times heavy rains. And due to the trough or the extension of Typhoon Julian, residents in the Ilocos region, Cordillera Administrative Region, and the rest of the Cagayan Valley, as well as Central Luzon, will also experience cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms. Now, aside from Typhoon Julian, there is another weather system in the south. We're talking about the easterlies. Down here, let me get out of the way for you. The easterlies are impacting the eastern part of Mindanao, particularly in the Davao region, Soxar region, and the Carga. These trade winds blowing from the east to west in tropical regions are bringing moist air over land, resulting in rain. Now, residents should prepare for cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms, especially in the afternoon. Now, over here in Metro Manila, though, and the rest of the country, partly cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms are expected to prevail. Possible flash floods or landslides may also happen due to severe localized thunderstorms. Now, strong to typhoon force winds associated with Typhoon Julian prevail or are expected to affect the northern seaboard of northern Luzon, particularly in Batanes, as you can see over here. Now, sea travel is risky for most types or tonnage of vehicles, including all small motorcraft, seacraft, and motor bangkas. With a rough to very rough sea condition expected, mariners are advised not to venture out to sea. You're advised to remain in port or seek safe shelter or harbor. Now, let's take a look at the weather conditions over in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Starting off first in Luzon, cloudy skies with rain showers and thunderstorms are expected to prevail in Luwag, Tuguegarao, Baguio, Olongapo as well. But over here in Metro Manila, as you can see over here, as well as Tagaytay, Puerto Princesa, and Legazpi, you can expect generally fair weather conditions. And of course, that's good news because there's also little chance of rain in these areas. So residents can look forward to a more pleasant day ahead. Now let's go down to Visayas, particularly Bacolod, Iloilo, Metro Cebu, and Tacloban. Expect generally fair weather conditions today. Make sure to hydrate properly as the temperature may rise up to 33 degrees Celsius. Similar weather conditions we've been seeing the past few weeks actually. Iloilo and Bacolod being a bit warmer compared to their neighbors in Tacloban and in Metro Cebu. So again, especially if you're in Iloilo and in Bacolod, do make sure that you stay hydrated and that you keep yourself safe from the sun rather. All right, so let's move down south to Mindanao. In Mindanao, particularly in Metro Davao, expect cloudy skies with rain showers and thunderstorms due to the easterlies, as we mentioned a while ago. Take a look at that here. The easterlies coming in, blowing in from the right side of the country, and we'll see the temperatures fall to around 32 degrees Celsius, still quite hot, but Zamboanga on the other hand. Favorable weather conditions, but 34 degrees Celsius hot weather over in Zamboanga. Now, temperatures may rise to around that level, so make sure that you stay updated with the local weather forecast and be prepared for any potential changes in weather conditions if you're outside. Now, consider bringing an umbrella and start dressing comfortably. Let's go to Tagaytay since we are in the midweek, and for those who want to get out of the metro in particular, you can go on to Tagaytay. Here's a 3-day weather forecast in that area. Friday over to Sunday, expect generally fair weather conditions over here, around 30 degrees Celsius, a bit cooler than what we're seeing in Metro Manila. As we saw a while ago, Metro Manila still a bit warm, but in Tagaytay, as expected, just a bit cooler there. So a nice drive out of Manila would see you enjoy that type of weather. Let's go down to Iloilo. Let's check the weather in the City of Love. And you're gonna love this because the weather conditions are expected to remain favorable until Sunday. Now, for tourists who will visit the historical churches in Iloilo, make sure to bring extra clothes because temperatures will be quite high. As you can see, starting Friday, 33 degrees Celsius over there, with Saturday and Sunday having a bit of a break with 32 degrees Celsius, but not by much. So make sure that you are comfortably dressed as well. Now, we mentioned the easterlies affecting Davao, the Metro Davao area. Let's take a look at the weather there. Now, residents here will continue to experience cloudy skies with rain showers and thunderstorms until tomorrow. But come Saturday and Sunday, the weather is expected to improve. As you can see here, the weather might be a bit wet coming on Friday. But then come Saturday, Sunday, the weekends here, temperatures will rise around 33 degrees Celsius, but weather will be a bit more favorable. Now, when we return, we will discover how ecotourism empowers communities and transforms lives through sustainability in our interview with environmental planner Chen Mencias.
It has no authorization.
We hope and pray that it will not rise.
Thanks for having me here.
It's an orchestrated vicious...
By myself, basically.
We always say that.
It depends.
A well-concerted effort.
Perhaps I can reiterate.
My greatest beefsteak. Iba pala yun. Now, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas expects improvements in the country's external payments, leading to a higher surplus. Philippine shares enter bull market territory after surging past the 7,400 level.
Get the latest on the economy and the financial markets, down to each basis point.
Everything is looking good for us. What are your thoughts on this? Given that the tides are changing, how have you revised your target?
Basis Points with Mikey Oreta. Weekdays, 9:30 a.m. on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Welcome back. You're still watching Weather HQ. Sustainable tourism is essential for protecting our natural resources and supporting local communities amidst the rising tourism demands. Today, we'll explore how responsible travel can reshape the Philippine tourism landscape, balancing economic growth with environmental care. Let's dive into part one of my interview with Chen Mencias, an environmental planner specializing in tourism, as she shares her background in environmental planning.
I was a professional diver for more than 15 years prior to becoming an environmental planner. And my experience traveling in different coastal areas of the country exposed me to the reality of the decline in the marine environment and how local communities are not actively involved in getting benefits out of tourism. And so I started exploring that possibility of changing the way things are being done.
Is there a particular moment or a particular episode in your travels that made you decide, okay, I need to shift from just diving professional, teaching people how to dive, to actually advocating for responsible tourism?
Yeah, we were working with a marine protected area, enhancing the reef. And then I noticed one day that tourists started flocking in. And it was not only divers that were coming in, but also snorkelers, mainstream tourists. But there was no policy or protocols to minimize the impact. And so I started thinking that resorts are focused more on getting economic benefit and selling the place as a tourism destination rather than putting up some mechanisms by which they can protect the integrity of the marine ecosystem. And so the communities are not involved. And I said, it has to be involvement from the local government first and foremost.
When you say responsible tourism, it doesn't necessarily mean dadami yung amount of tourists in the sense that we're going to try and overload this place with more people. Can you explain that a bit?
Yeah, prior to the pandemic, there was like over-tourism in many popular destinations in the world, not just in the Philippines. For example, Barcelona, Venice, all that. No? And people were just clamoring for less tourists. And so we also went through that with Boracay and other destinations like Puerto Galera, Coron, Baguio. And during the pandemic, people were just saying that we can actually do social distancing and having less tourists in destinations. But unfortunately, when destinations started opening up, we went back to the same old way. Because probably 2 years was not enough for us to realize that we need more policies and we need to have a wake-up call to be able to tell us that we need to impose carrying capacity limits in all these destinations.
How damaging was revenge travel after the pandemic?
Actually, I don't believe in the term because it's so negative, It's like you need to do some high-impact activity to make up to those 2 years that you were inside your house. So I think we should have a more positive way of promoting going back with better attitude and better policies and going ahead and investing in planning instead of just promotions, because that's exactly how we are damaging many of our places in the country, and not just natural sites but also cultural sites.
I want to bring up a blog post you made in 2015. Okay, very, very long time ago. You listed down misconceptions with regards to travel. Another one that is interesting is that tourism is the solution to poverty. That's a misconception, and that relates a lot to local communities. Why is that not the case?
Okay, if you don't plan for tourism, the tendency is that investors would rake in most of the profit, especially if the local government does not instill mechanisms by which you have safety nets for those who will not be hired by the industry. And there's more of them in the community. So if you take stock of how many people have the capability to be employed or the skill to be employed in resorts and all these investments, in the industry, very few. So what happens is that we have serious economic leakages. These businesses would hire people from other countries, from other municipalities or towns, and leaving out the people living in that place. So if you have a lot of people who are already struggling, and then you put that investment there without thinking of the impact, the consequences of that act, to most of the people living in that place, whose buying power will be minimized to really, really low, you create more poverty because, the money that is coming in is only getting into small portion of the industry, not providing opportunities to the majority of the community. We have to end that practice of selling attractions, but rather create products that will actually answer or address needs and preferences of specific market segment instead of just inviting everyone and then relying on sheer number to make the industry viable.
Are there any good examples in your experience that you could show us that, okay, this is a good model to follow as of late in this particular time and age?
Back in 2007, I was involved with an island community at the tip of Luzon, 12 hours from Manila. I go there once a month to be with this community, and it had some beautiful natural heritage attractions, but the people are so poor that they were only eating twice a day. So we started with that baseline, so we know we can measure whether the intervention in terms of ecotourism will be beneficial to them financially and well-being. And so after 8 years, these people started having savings and earning much more than they used to earn from fishing and other activities. And they are now able to send their children to school and repair their houses. And they have sense of pride and dignity because they don't have to ask subsidy from government anymore. And so that project actually gave me an opportunity to experiment on products and tools, methods, by which we can capacitate communities, rural communities in different parts of the country, have their own products, have their own way of selling their community without others interpreting their culture, coming from outside. They're able to tell their own story and benefit out of that.
That's Chen Reyes Mencias on environmental planning. Tune in for our second part of the interview tomorrow. Up next, global weather. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Oh my goodness!
I've done it or not yet.
Digital service providers like Netflix, Disney Plus, and HBO will now have to pay a 12% VAT with a new law signed by President Marcos. The filing of certificates of candidacies for next year's midterm elections. Among those who have formalized their bids today are former and incumbent senators.
Mai Rodriguez sums up the newsfeed for you halfway through the day. Newsfeed at noon on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Welcome back. You're still watching BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. This is Weather HQ. Powerful waves seen crashing onto coastal roads and trees were uprooted from strong winds ahead of Typhoon Krathon's landfall in Kaohsiung. Although the typhoon has weakened, the threats from a storm surge, strong winds, and rain remain as it slowly makes its way towards Taiwan's coast. Officials in Kaohsiung, a key port city in the storm's path, are urging residents to stay home and keep away from the sea, as well as rivers and mountains to ensure their safety during the weather event. Now, based on the latest track of Pag-asa, Typhoon Krathon is expected to hit Taiwan's landmass at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, due to the combination of incoming northeasterly wind flow over the East China Sea and lower ocean heat content in the vicinity, Typhoon Julian continues to weaken while slowly moving northeastward towards Taiwan. As you can see here, the path hitting Kaohsiung later on at 2 o'clock, as we mentioned a while ago, and expected to go northeast going towards the mainland of Taiwan. Now, moving on to the USA, the U.S. National Hurricane Center says Mexico's Pacific coast should expect more heavy rains, even if the area was already soaked by the deadly Hurricane John last week. A tropical depression named 11E is expected to strengthen into a tropical storm before making landfall, bringing flooding and mudslides to the coastal areas from the Mexican state of Guerrero to western Guatemala. The center of the storm is expected to reach the coast by Thursday night and last till Friday. The storm is seen dumping between 4 to 8 inches of rainfall in the area, with some spots to be hit with up to 12 inches of rain. And that's it for Weather HQ today. I'm Paolo del Rosario. Join us again tomorrow, whatever the weather, here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
while London was the in the late 60s, early 70s was the kind of fashion trendy capital. Paris was the couture, and that was where I grew up, in that couture environment, and it's remained with me. And this collection kind of reflects that period, late 60s, early 70s Paris. Very, very chic, very normal, very un-London, and it's remained with me. And this has been my signature to some extent for since the beginning of my fashion life.
This is the bedroom of the John Lennon suite here at the Casbah Coffee Cup Suites. So if you're a John Lennon fan, I should imagine this is where you want to stay. The Beatles started here at the Casbah Coffee Club. That's where the band formed. They played at the Casbah on the opening night as the Quarrymen, John, Paul, George, and a less-known guy called Ken Brown. Stars on the ceiling were put up by John, Paul, George, and Pete. They cut these stars out and put them up. Silhouette of the fireplace there is a silhouette. If there hadn't have been a Casbah, there wouldn't have been a Beatles. It was the starting point. It was where John, Paul, George, Stuart met Pete. The five of them came together to form the original lineup of the Beatles, and it all happened here at the Casbah. Just happens to be the one that's got the drum kit pillow. And the Airbnb, the house doesn't sit the far ceiling above the stage. That was put up by John Lennon and my brother Pete. She grabbed hold of John, she spotted it about 3 weeks later, and dragged him upstairs.
It's a wonderful opportunity, and I would certainly recommend it to anybody that's a Beatles fan, especially if they're a Beatles fan of the early days and the origins of the Beatles, and you know, where they truly started, right in the basement of this house. You know, it's just a wonderful thing that what they've done for this to make it available for Beatles fans alike, you know, to come visit and stay and truly learn the real history.
OpenAI has launched a new series of bots built to answer really tough questions. The AI models are designed to spend more time processing problems before spitting out an answer. First reported by Reuters, the new products are capable of reasoning through complex tasks. OpenAI says that makes them better able to solve challenging problems in science, coding and math. Known within the firm as Strawberry, they've officially been branded as O1 and O1 Mini. The O1 version will be available in ChatGPT from Thursday. In a blog post, the firm said the new model scored 83% on the qualifying exam for the International Mathematics Olympiad. That compares with just 13% for a previous model. The new bot also exceeded human PhD level accuracy on some scientific tests. An OpenAI researcher said the system was built on so-called chain of thought reasoning, which breaks complex problems down into small steps. The models have refined their abilities through training and learning from their mistakes.
The balat is there, the sauce is there.
Sorry, the plates are beside me. We're here to bring you a fresh start to your week.
Yeah.
I love how we're not paying attention to this anymore. like, guys, from heartwarming stories to the latest trends, let's make every moment count.
It smells amazing. You should just be here every day, Miss Ross.
Sorry.
Wow. So let's make today amazing by spreading kindness and love.
It's a beautiful day.
Up next on Bilyonaryo